Welcome to Cybersecurity Awareness TV, episode number 459, recorded June 14th, 2024. Join me, Professor Mac Jackson Jr., as we navigate through the digital landscape. Gear up for a thrilling ride through the cybersecurity tips and news to gain expert knowledge to become a cybersecurity champion. And remember, folks, subscribe, like at the button below to all of our upcoming shows here on Cybersecurity Awareness TV. You can find more about my show by going to the website macjacksonjr.com, macjacksonjr.com. In today's episode, we're going to talk about cybersecurity news, and within cybersecurity news, we're going to delve into the issues surrounding what the federal government and other agencies are warning about AI. Folks, if you're not familiar with AI, artificial intelligence, we're going to talk about the threat, how it's going to affect the 2024 election, but not just 2024 election, folks. It's affecting our everyday lives. Segment 2, we will dive into FBI scams. One of the recent one that's happened, folks, and this has just happened a few weeks ago, has to do with the AT&T and Verizon customer service. There was a nationwide outage between AT&T and Verizon, and how it has affected customers. And folks, we've talked about this for years, so definitely stay tuned for that particular story. It's quite interesting. These and other stories we have for you folks relating to cybersecurity here at Cybersecurity Awareness TV. We'll be right back after these messages. Hi folks, this is Mac Jackson Jr. from Cybersecurity Awareness TV. I'm here to tell you today about Dr. Aki Akimi from Vegas Direct Primary Care. As healthcare costs are on the rise, Dr. Akimi takes the time to explain and recommends lifestyle changes to improve your health and your well-being. She is very attentive and knowledgeable, and she listens, folks, to what your needs are and help you get to the healthcare that you deserve. Dr. Akimi would suggest things like food is the best medicine. That's what she says. I want to give praises out to her and thank her for her support here with me, as well as the Las Vegas community. Thank you, Dr. Akimi. Hey folks, welcome back to Cybersecurity Awareness TV. I'm your host, Mac Jackson Jr. This episode is very intense, folks. We're talking about generative AI, or generative artificial intelligence. Folks, artificial intelligence, if you haven't heard about it, folks, letting you know that please be on top of this wave that's coming through our society now when it comes to technology. Artificial intelligence will change the way that you conduct business, your personal lives, your social media life, and it will affect our politics as well. Generative artificial intelligence has been used by domestic and foreign actors to create threats against our upcoming elections, especially the ones upcoming in November. The FBI and other government agencies have warned our citizens here in the U.S. and around the world to be cautious of these types of propaganda that can be created from generative AI. So just to give you a little bit of background on what I mean by this, is that generative AI can be used with technology to create illusions of reality that's not true. It can take a photo of someone who exists today and generate them into the future of what they may look like, have them speak a certain language. In other words, you could have photos, audio, and propaganda all created using artificial intelligence. There was a time back when I was younger growing up, and there was a manufacturer that created videotapes. Some of you may have heard of the company called Memorex, and they used to have a line that says, is it live or is it Memorex? Well, nowadays, fast forward to today, we're saying the same thing. We'll be able to tell if it's real or is it artificial. It's amazing to see how technology has move forward in this type of advancement to create these sort of illusions of what is real and what is not. Now, that's the bad part about it. But the good part about it, folks, for your businesses, and reason why you should think about artificial intelligence, AI, it could help you in your company within sales, within manufacturing, within dealing with customer service. Having artificial intelligence can really help you in your business and give you a competitive edge that can disrupt the industry that you're in by offering you an advantage. That's some of the good things about it. However, with the good there is the bad. especially with our adversaries and bad actors wanting to use AI as a way to extort and exploit information from individuals. The rise of generative AI has introduced a new layer of complexity, that is, through the elections and our security. These advanced technologies can score highly realistic fake content, such as video, audio recordings, and social media posts, folks, to change public opinions. Again, propaganda. AI technology can exploit and spread disinformation, cause confusion, conflict, and undermine the public trust in the election process. OpenAI developer behind AI, ChatGPT, those of you who may have heard, has warned, yes, the developers itself has warned about the misuse of generative AI and how nation-state actors worldwide can use this to exploit information. According to a report by the Washington Post, OpenAI has identified groups around the world, countries that are very much interested in using this type of technology for propaganda. These countries, again, are from Russia, China, Iran, and other countries that want to use this as a propaganda promotion. These operations involve creating and dismantling highly sophisticated and progressive social media, persuasive that is, social media campaigns designed to influence public opinion, manipulate narratives, and potentially destabilize society. AI, folks, can be good for our society, but we have to be able to take the technology and utilize it where it can be worthwhile. For example, there are situations of AI can be used for marketing and advertising. That's right, you can have commercials now done. And even in my industry, as public speakers, we can have avatars speak for us using AI to generate our presentations and our speeches. This can be good for us, folks, but we also need to be able to take the AI technology and make sure that it is truthful and it is part of what we are actually doing. Then from there, we have AI being used for other different types of applications, things regarding other parts of technology. To demonstrate this, let's take a look at our story we have here from CBS News.
So generative artificial intelligence could threaten election security this November. That's according to a recent warning by intelligence agencies. According to analysis compiled by the Department of Homeland Security, both foreign and domestic actors could use technology to further divide us. So for more on this, we are joined by CBS News national security contributor Sam Vinograd. She is a former assistant secretary for counterterrorism at the Department of Homeland Security. Thanks for joining us. So we know now, no matter what some people want to believe, that we have a very secure election process. People are not breaking into voting machines or any of that stuff. But we, the humans, we're pretty easy to hack. We saw it during the last election when we had inauthentic actors on social media putting posts that were not legitimate. But now we have generative AI, and it's everywhere. How concerned should we be? What are the threats out there?
Well, generative AI or using audio, video, images, and code to create new content can certainly mislead voters, Anne-Marie. So you're right. Our election infrastructure, according to federal officials, is more secure than ever. But the information environment is increasingly complex. And we have a data point just this week. There was an individual in New Hampshire who's been fined $6 million by the FCC, indicted on over 24 counts for using AI-generated robocalls to impersonate President Biden and to try to influence voters. We know that generative AI can be used to mislead voters, to sow discord, and also from a security perspective to scan internet-facing election infrastructure for vulnerabilities. So what we need is an informed public, an informed community to know what to look for and to double check that the content they're experiencing is real.
Yeah, I mean, you can't underline that more. And there's also been, though, a lot of pressure being put on some of these platforms to do more, to limit our exposure to these sort of things. TikTok said it's going to take sort of state-sponsored accounts off of your For You, kind of the section where the algorithm suggests that you watch videos. They're going to remove that sort of stuff. Seems like a good move.
It seems like a good move for stakeholders on any social media platform to understand the source of the information. So identifying state-owned media is a great step. Offloading it from areas where stakeholders might be getting more popular posts is also important. But at the end of the day, that is not going to solve the problem. There is just too much inauthentic content out there. So while we need social media platforms to uphold their codes of conduct, to evolve around with the threat environment, we also just need users to be media literate and to engage in fact-checking and source-checking to ensure that they're not being misled.
Yeah, do not believe everything you read. Ask yourself, is this an attempt at manipulation? Sam, you know, we could talk about this for an hour probably.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Folks, the deployment of AI in such content underscores the growing concern of a global community about ethics and security implications for this advanced type of technology. The Washington Post highlights the significance of these AI campaigns regarding our elections, making it a particular challenge for us to detect and correct these types of AI propaganda issues that can be presented in our society. The campaigns that generate the human-like interactions and conversations enhance their deception and their nature. Folks, these AI-generated systems, again, like I mentioned before, look very, very real, and they can be done in a way that you cannot tell if they are AI and not generated. So basically, there's some things I want to talk to you about how to protect yourselves from this, or maybe how to detect if they are AI generated. But for this story to continue, we have another follow-up story given to us by CBS News.
Tech company OpenAI is warning that state actors around the world are using generative artificial intelligence to run covert propaganda campaigns. The company told the Washington Post that it found groups in Russia, China, Iran, and Israel all using its technology to try and build and launch social media campaigns. OpenAI has since addressed the issue, but warns that there are still more groups out there using the technology. For more, let's bring in Washington Post tech reporter Garrett DeVink. So, Garrett, first of all, just remind us what generative AI is and what are the concerns as more of these tools become available?
Yeah, so generative AI tools are things like image generators, text generators. We even have video generators now that use AI where you put in a prompt, say, can you make me a photo of a cat riding a skateboard? And it generates that photo. Probably the most popular tool that people will know of or have interacted with is ChatGPT from OpenAI. So that's a chatbot that you can have conversations with, ask it all sorts of questions, ask it to do your homework, ask it to, try to write the bar exam. And what OpenAI found was that, propagandists from countries like Iran, Russia, these groups that are already well known by cybersecurity experts for trying to push propaganda and sort of influence discourse online, have started using ChatGPT and other OpenAI tools to help them do their job, to actually generate new posts that are in English in a way that sounds like a native English speaker, to translate them into multiple languages, and then using that to sort of boost their propaganda campaigns.
So talk to us then about how bad the implications of that can be, because when people are thinking about cats on skateboards or creating some text for you when you don't want to do your homework or write a news copy. I'm just kidding. but in those cases, that doesn't sound nefarious. And in this case, OpenAI is really concerned. Explain the possible negative implications of this.
Yeah, so we've had to deal with these campaigns for years, and a lot of these groups, which are sort of sometimes loosely tied to national governments themselves, sometimes even employed or funded by these national governments, will go online, they'll respond to comments, they'll try to stoke up debate. We've seen this in U.S. elections, we've seen this in elections all over the world as these countries sort of try to pit people against each other by sort of stoking up debate online. And I think a lot of people who spend time on social media have maybe even interacted with some of these things, and they say, oh, this is a bot. Most of us, maybe not all of us, but a lot of people can sort of say, okay, this person seems a little bit too interested in making me angry or making me believe something that I don't think is true. And so I think this stuff has already been out there. It's already a problem. It's already something people should be aware of. But with these generative AI tools, the concern is that they can improve these things. So in the same way that you might get a fraudulent email asking you for your social security number, that if the English is very poorly written, it's probably not from your bank. Now you might be getting an email that is written in perfect professional business English because of a tool like ChatGPT.
And the other implication, potentially, in addition to the misinformation, is how believable it becomes, particularly with deep fakes. So what is OpenAI and other technology groups doing to try and address that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the companies, they talk a lot about it. They talk a lot about how they're concerned. There's other companies, very powerful tech companies, Google, Microsoft, Facebook, that are building these tools and putting them out into the wild. And they do talk about trying to create deepfake detectors. So using their own technology to sort of be able to tell, oh, this image was created with a deepfake generator, or maybe even putting some kind of signal on real images so that if a photo was taken by a camera, there's a way to track that and to know that. But at the same time, experts aren't sure whether these technologies are actually going to work. And the companies keep pushing these tools out because it's in their interest to sell more AI, to make it seem like they're sort of at the cutting edge of technology so that Wall Street is more interested in them. And so I think anything coming out of the big tech companies, you need to be skeptical, and you need to know that when you're online, there's going to be stuff that might look real, but probably isn't. And you need to use all those same tools that people have had to use for years now with disinformation online to double check things, see where information is coming from. Do you trust that source? None of that changes.
All right, Garrett Devink, thank you.
So, folks, as we can see, that AI-generated propaganda for the bad is something we really should be concerned with as society and as business owners and as individuals, parents, and alike. We have all kinds of things generated from AI. Things like virtual kidnapping is something generated from AI. Fake Zoom calls, fake broadcasts, fake messages, fake emails. All of this, folks, are now coming to us in not just text form generated from AI, but video, audio as well. We must stay aware and alert. And one of our best ways to do that, to protect ourselves, folks, is like how I teach my students at the university. Always cite and do your research. See a source, do your research, vet it first. Contact the original supplier of that particular document or information file that you've gotten, and make sure it's real before you follow through with it. We must stay vigilant, folks. Definitely must stay vigilant. Criminals are always looking for ways to exploit us, and as we say here in our show, hashtag stay cyberwoke, folks. We'll be back after these messages. Hello, folks. This is Mac Jackson Jr. from Vanderson Cyber Group. The problem with businesses today is that they are affected by cyber attacks from around the world, but companies are not sure of what to do. Normally, they are reactive instead of proactive. But folks, cyber attacks can affect your bottom line, and it will affect you financially, legally, and your business reputation. Here at Vanderson Cyber Group, we can help you develop a policy by training your employees on what to do if they are involved in a cyber attack and how to mitigate it and fight against it. Folks, we call it here hashtag stay cyberwoke. And that's Vanderson Cyber Group here in Las Vegas and around the world. You can reach me, folks, at VandersonCyberGroup.com or my website, MacJacksonJr.com as well. Here locally, 702-868-0808. Give us a call today, folks. We must fight back. Hey folks, welcome back to Cybersecurity Awareness TV. I'm your host, Mac Jackson Jr. If you'd like to find out more about my show, again, go to my website at MacJacksonJr.com, MacJacksonJr.com. In this segment, we're talking about something, folks, that happened again and over it's going on, folks. Another incident that happened between AT&T and Verizon. The customers from AT&T and Verizon nationwide have been affected by and reported a nationwide outage that led to a widespread communication disruption between AT&T. This was acknowledged by AT&T, stating that this outage affected the way the AT&T customers can call 911 and send calls out. So far, the investigation is still ongoing, but Verizon and AT&T customers are having issues making calls or trying to connect with other customers or connect their calls. They're having a problem with the inability to connect all their calls. Meanwhile, at Verizon, they reported that the customers are having trouble connecting via calls and using text messages to other carriers. This impact is significant, affecting both personal and business communications. For many businesses, relying on the communication is critical to receive calls and text messages, leading to missed opportunities, right? Frustrated customers and disputed workflows. As a result of this development, both AT&T and Verizon are working on resolving these issues by restoring normal operations as quickly as possible. Again, folks, we've talked about this before. Are these cyber attacks that are happening to our communication systems worldwide or satellites in space? We don't know. The jury's still out on that. Investigations are still going on. But let's get another point of view from a story that we have for you from NBC News.
We've got to get to some breaking news back here at home now. We're just learning about a nationwide outage apparently affecting AT&T and Verizon customers. So check your cell phones because AT&T is telling us this national issue is, I'm quoting here, it's affecting the ability of customers to complete calls. Verizon says this problem affects people trying to call or text people who are using other carriers. Brian Chung is joining us now. Wait a second. So both of these huge telecom companies are both having issues all across the country. What's up?
Yeah, and this is still developing. We're trying to figure out why this is happening, but this appears to be affecting any sort of phone calls that are going from one carrier to the other. AT&T and Verizon both acknowledging that they're having these issues. AT&T says it's nationwide, and Verizon says that it appears to be impacting their Northeast and also, I believe, Midwest areas. So, again, this is still developing. We're trying to figure out exactly what the reason is behind this. Verizon says that they're experiencing issues with text messages as well. We did just hear from AT&T, a spokesperson telling me that this isn't impacting their 911 services.
That was my next question.
We're working to correct a wireless impact notification that was sent in error to 911 call centers. That coming in from an AT&T spokesperson to me just a few minutes ago. So again, it seems like there's a lot to sort out here, but again, this appears to be impacting calls primarily from one carrier to the other, namely, in most cases, AT&T to Verizon or vice versa, Hallie.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, Brian. The answer may totally be we don't know yet, and that's fine. But when you say it's affecting calls from one carrier to the other, meaning AT&T and Verizon, is like T-Mobile affected or some of these other carriers affected as well, or do we not know yet?
We don't know. I mean, these carriers are kind of pointing the finger and saying this is anything that's maybe outside of the carrier. But again, when we look at downdetector.com, this is a website where people can report issues. So it might not be the best measurement of exactly how many people are reporting issues. We're seeing the most amount of reported problems at Verizon and also at AT&T. T-Mobile remains to be seen. But I want to emphasize that people might be thinking about that issue back in February where there were those massive issues.
Yes,
right, there were those massive issues
outage,
at AT&T. The scale of this, at least when you're looking at what's being reported on downdetector.com, it's much less. In total, including Verizon, it's about 5,000 reported issues as of now. It was something in the tens of thousands in that February problem.
And just to reiterate, 911 emergency calls, those can go through no problem?
AT&T says that it is not experiencing issues with 911 emergency call centers.
Okay, Brian Chung, more to watch on that. Thank you for scrambling to a camera and bringing us that developing news here tonight. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.
So, folks, this incident and other incidents like this, again, we've talked before about preparedness. We need to be prepared, have some sort of planning in place for your personal family and your business for any type of disruptions. What would you do if your telecommunications carrier went out and you were unable to communicate? What about your internet system? What if your internet went out? All of these are dependencies that we have on other technologies for our everyday lives. We need to be able to be vigilant and stay alert. Like we've always said, folks, cyber criminals are always looking for ways to find vulnerabilities into our technologies, into our lifestyles. We must stay alert. Hashtag Cybersecurity Awareness, hashtag Stay Cyber Woke, folks. That's all we have for you today, folks, on our show today. But again, I want to emphasize to you, if you want to find out more information on how to protect your business, your family from these types of cyber threats, definitely contact my company, and that's at VandersonCyberGroup.com, VandersonCyberGroup.com. If you'd like to have me as a speaker for your organization to discuss cybersecurity awareness training for your group or associations, you can definitely contact me or my agent at MacJacksonJR.com. That's MacJacksonJR.com. Till next week, folks, this is Mac Jackson for Cybersecurity Awareness TV. Take care.
News.